Well, if you didn't know, Michigan's largest urban park is celebrating a really big birthday. It's fitting when anything or anyone turns 100 to throw a big party, and that's what's happening in Detroit's Rouge Park this weekend. You're looking at video of the park from Drone 4. The park, by the way, was established in 1925 on Detroit's west side. It sits on nearly 1,200 acres, bordered by I-96 to the north and Warren Avenue to the south. There's a pool, golf course, hiking and mountain biking trails, and so much more. The celebration of this Detroit gem kicks off tonight, and here to tell us all about it is Lindsay Pielack, the Executive Director of Friends of Rouge Park. Thank you for joining us, Lindsay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's
First,
an honor.
You brought some swag.
Yes, of course. So this is our centennial logo and our T-shirt for the 100-year anniversary. So I wanted to give that to you. We're sharing these with our wonderful volunteers who are helping us out tonight, as well as our centennial members, who are folks who care as much about Rouge Park as we do and have donated $100 to support Friends of Rouge Park.
How
and
do you
keep the work going?
How do you wrap your mind around 100 years of history there?
Well, it's amazing. I'm new to the organization. I just started in January of this year. I'm their first executive director.
Oh, well, it just took 100 years. Now we got one. Yep.
Yes, they would say that. There's a really dedicated group of folks who have been organizing in the park, started Friends of Rouge Park back in 2003, including Paul Stark, who's a historian of the park and has an extensive history of the park. He's actually putting out a booklet today with the first draft of an amazing 100-year history of the park. And really, it is a truly wonderful story. 100 years ago, the Rouge Park sat outside of the city limits, but the city had the forethought to purchase this farmland, knowing that access to recreation was just so important for residents. So it used to be farmland as well as some original forest. Yes. So it was 5 miles outside of the city at the time.
Okay.
And then it was purchased for the park and was, an asset for many, many years. Hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Old ice skating rink and all sorts of things that people have enjoyed for decades.
Also really interesting to think about, some people don't realize just how big the city of Detroit is, like the borders. So to think 100 years ago, they were still expanding.
Yes.
They're like, no, we want this as part of it too.
Yeah. And I think that's so important, right, as we think about what is the importance of Rouge Park.
Yeah.
I think some people in the city of Detroit don't even know Rouge Park exists, right?
Right.
It's a 1,200-acre park, which is huge. Wow. It's massive, right? And there's such wonderful opportunities for recreation and connection to nature.
Yeah, like mountain biking? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yes. So there's a 3-mile mountain bike track. There's 4 miles of trails in the park, a ton of walking paths and pathways. Great 5K running trail, apparently. We need to get the runners
very interested.
More out there. And of course, some people don't know about Rouge Park, but a lot of folks do. It's home and memories for so many Detroiters. And any day you go out there on a beautiful day, it is packed. You'll see the folks just out there enjoying the park, which is what we want in our public spaces.
Well, see, Detroiters know where all the gems are.
Yes.
We just like to, keep it for ourselves because it's such a beautiful thing to experience. When it comes to celebrations and what folks can expect, 100 years, it's a big deal.
Yes. So we have a 3-day celebration this evening. We're kicking off with the Summer Music Series, which is presented by the city of Detroit. And so that'll be jazz this evening, some wonderful artists, and then continuing on Saturday and Sunday with a lot of great music. There's also going to be a carnival there's a carnival resource area with a lot of vendors, community organizations, as well as food trucks. And so we're just, and then, and of course, activations of our park partners. So we're looking forward to highlighting folks that work in the park, like Detroit Outdoors, Detroit Black Community Food Security Network, the Buffalo Soldiers, right? So there's so many groups that are in the park that we get the honor to partner with. And so when people come to the celebration, we want them to enjoy themselves, but we also want them leaving knowing about all the wonderful things that they can plug into in the park.
What I really love is that 100 years ago, they had the vision that park space is important to our everyday life. And now 100 years later, we're continuing that legacy. Because sometimes with, the concrete jungles of cities as they expand, we lose sight that we do need that nature. We need to hear the birds and be able to walk around in a forest, if you will, have some trails. Those are all vitally important.
Indeed. And I think this moment in time, it's really, it's really great how much investment is being placed in the
Yes.
city, both from the City of Detroit, the General Services Department, which we work closely with, Crystal Perkins and her team, to our philanthropic partners, the Gilbert Family Foundation, Community Foundation of Southeast Michigan. There's really a lot of recognition and partnership and looking at like how do we invest in these spaces really for that purpose. And so we're honored to be at the center of that at Rouge Park as the as the park partner to the city, really trying to make Rouge Park what it can be. And it's amazing. There's so many assets, and it needs a lot of work. There's so many challenges with the park that really need to be addressed.
Well, when you're talking about a size of,
Yes.
that's a huge area of land to have to maintain.
Yes, it is. And so I think, again, I started in January, and it's been a fast train towards this 100-year
Well, you've had
celebration.
6 months, so what's been going on?
But, I really think the opportunity here is to really look at what exists now and make sure people
Yeah.
are aware of it. And right now, get more families, more Detroiters out there to take care of Rouge Park. And then also to leverage where do we want to go. So
Right.
the city's going to be doing a master plan this year, which is when the city does the master plan, it's a 10-year plan of what we want to see in the park.
Yeah.
And so we really want to use that opportunity to get as many residents and stakeholders out to say, what do you want in this park? And then to leverage all of our partnerships to really make that happen, right? And we want improvements that are going to be in the lifetime of your children, and also improvements that are going to deal with the massive issues of stormwater,
Yeah.
overflow, and the flooding, and the lack of infrastructure. We have all of these trails, but we also need improvements for all of them. So.
Well, like any big project, there's still more work to be done, but there's still a lot to celebrate
Yes.
as well, which
So
we'll kick
much.
off with this 3-day celebration. Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a privilege.